Castro. Close your eyes and imagine that you are emotional and distraught about your day. Your family is at work and none of your friends are available. So you go down to the nearest gas station and buy yourself a pack of Camels. You light one cigarette from the pack and went outside. You were so emotional you decided to be smoking away your problems. After that one cigarette, you threw it away in the nearest ashtray. Because you liked the taste of it, one cigarette, you decided to smoke all the other cigarettes from the pack. From that day on, you made a vow to smoke one pack per day. But as time passed forward, you eventually got addicted and started to smoke more than one pack per day. Your health started deteriorating, and one day you got disturbing news. You were diagnosed with lung cancer. Do you want this to happen to you? Now open your eyes. If only you knew this following statistic before you ever started smoking. From a government website called the Center for Disease Prevention, they wrote an article called "The Current Smoking Among Adults in the United States." It stated that cigarette smoking is the leading cause of preventable disease and deaths in the United States, accounting for 480 deaths every year, or about 1 in 5 deaths. Today I'll be talking about smoking. You'll know about the good and bad about smoking and why people do it. And by the end of my speech, you will see if you're willing to take action to reduce the smoking rate in America. I had a friend with a good heart. Little did I know, he was a smoker. He died of lung cancer. Throughout my speech, I'll be talking about these 3 main points. What is the smoking rate in men? Because men are more likely to smoke, so we're going to talk about them. Then in my inoculation slide, we're going to talk about, is it worth it to smoke? Because some people are just undecided, so this slide will help them make a decision. Smoking. And then in the next slide, we're talking about smoking and what might happen to you. Because some people do smoke, and they need to know about the consequences. And if they're going to continue to smoke after seeing this slide. Now that we talk about the overview, let's talk about the smoking rate in men. In a periodical by E. Kimbrell and A. Pasteur, they wrote an article called "The Smoking Among Men Aged 25 to 64 Years by Age Group and Veteran Status." They separated men into 2 different groups of veterans and non-veterans. Male veterans aged 25 to 64 years were more likely to be current smokers than non-veterans. That's 29% versus 24% during the 2007-2010. And the second statistic, among men aged 45 to 54 years, 36% of the veterans reported being current smokers. That's 29%. In my third statistic, veterans accounted for 15% of the male population aged 25 to 64 years, ranging to 6% for men aged 25 to 34 years, to 34% for men aged 55 to 64 years. That proves that veterans are more likely to smoke than non-veterans. Now that we talked about the smoking rate in men, let's talk about whether or not it is to smoke. In an academic journal by R. Brownson and C. Erickson, they wrote "The Environmental Talk of Smoke, Health Effects and Policies to Reduce Exposure, and a Review of the Health." They brought upon these important topics. Smoking violates your mood. That's not always true, because the risk of lung cancer is 30% higher if you smoked. People think it's okay to smoke for children. It's probably proven that respiratory illness accounts for 150,000 to 300,000 annual cases in children and infants. People claim they're fine because they smoked for years. That's not always safe to say, because it's been proven there's been 60,000 annual cases of asthmatic heart disease in the United States. So after you've seen this slide, do you still decide if you want to smoke? Now that we talked about whether or not it is to smoke, let's talk about what happens if you did smoke. In an academic journal by J. Brule and B. Marcotte, they wrote "The Smoking in the Act for Quebec Teenagers Knowing Fear." They brought fear upon the audience who did smoke. they said the blindness is one possibility you can get from smoking because it's been prone to cataracts and age-related macular degeneration. Smoking can cause deafness because as the years pass, your hearing can start fading away. And that smoking can also cause heart disease because it can also damage your heart muscle in the result of a clogged artery. So if you still smoke, would you still want to continue smoking after seeing this slide? Now that I talked about what smoking might have to you, I have a request to ask of you. So after hearing the speech, I'll go home and get rid of all my tobacco products. Would you do the same? No, I didn't think so. So that's why I have a second request. I will go home to make smoking illegal in the United States. I want you to send to the president to prevent potential deaths in the United States. Thank you and you're welcome.